Quick little update to the guys who think this AUG is amazing. I do agree it looks great, but also I bought it second hand, incredibly wobbly. Fire selector comes out, the charging handle doesn't actually lock. This QD mount is completely disconnected from anything. The magazine has a BB stuck inside of it, as well as some minor scratches. Fire selector's just falling out again. I doubt it actually shoots, to be honest. Look at this. I decided to start with the barrel to fix this thing up, and the amount of grease on the inner barrel is insane. This is how much I got from just wiping it down, and I wonder how much more there is on the inside of this outer barrel. Barrel itself is still very wobbly. Also found out that the hop-up was broken. It just didn't work. The hop-up wheel wasn't firm enough on the hop, so it was literally unadjustable. It appears that the hop-up rubber is completely unusable and smells very intensely of fish for no reason at all. I'm gonna get that removed and replaced. It also appears to be damaged on the outside, so previous owner really took care of that. So starting from the barrel, I decided to completely remove the wobble on the barrel by Teflon taping the threads inside below the flash hider, as well as cleaning out all the grease that was in there. There was a lot of grease along this inside of this. And I also took this down, cleaned it, put Teflon tape inside of it, and an O-ring over here. This is now the sturdiest barrel that ever comes to existence, ever. I'm very proud of this one. Took one of the hop rubbers from my spare Tokyo Marui parts and installed it on here, as well as Teflon taped some of the hop-up parts where they were loose, and now everything is working perfectly as intended. And if we check the hop-up goes down, hop-up goes up. Perfect. The whole barrel just is a lot sturdier now. There's no wiggle at all anywhere. So now I've just have to figure out how to fix the rest of this gun. I also quickly disassembled the magazine and got rid of the BBs. There was apparently 4 BBs stuck up here inside, so it was a quick job of just unscrewing the screw, taking the base plate off, sliding some things out from the top here, and they were just falling out, so magazine's fixed. Would you look at that, ladies and gentlemen? Barrel itself has 0 wobble, however it's still kind of wobbly at the place where it meets the body of the gun, but that's okay, I can fix that as well. Absolutely solid. So I've taken it all apart, cleaned it, now it's time to put it back together. It's a very solid part. We'll definitely need to repaint this at some point. Taking this part out, and it doesn't look too bad. Actually, it looks in pretty good condition apart from the charging handle not looking back, but I feel like that can be fixed with tidying up a couple of parts over here, as well as doing a bit of Teflon tape on this handle itself so it doesn't seem as wobbly. So I had to do a little bit of machining here on the charging handle. Had to sand down just a tiny bit at the start here. With the Dremel, it's barely visible. Well, barely visible as it gets. Now this actually locks back. It latches onto this part right here. 2 spots to get the extra stability when locking back. So if I just bring it back, it locks in perfectly. Even if I move around intensely, it does go off, but it actually stays. That's a lot better than it used to be. So I'm just trying to take this AUG apart completely, and unfortunately I am stuck at taking apart the plastic frame as it has been glued in 2 places, right up here and just down here along this part. If I try to break this open, it will snap some parts and putting it back together will probably look terrible. I think I'm going to just keep it as is. I've removed all the internals away from it so I can clean them. From the internals we have the trigger mechanism, gearbox, the hop-up reveal, the back plate that goes behind the actual back plate, internal feeding nozzle, the mag release, the locking pin, another pin that I'm not entirely sure what does, bunch of screws, rubber cover, as well as a fire selector. So hopefully I'll be able to figure out where these parts go, but for now we're just gonna focus on cleaning. Gearbox time. Funny thing, right? Since this is a motor, all motors operate on a basis of 2 magnets or more magnets, and when you're spinning this, you can actually feel how the center stick is snapping from one magnet to another. Look at this. You can feel the magnets inside. That's so cool. Damn, I've never worked on a gearbox before, but this looks greasy as hell. This is all like sticky too. I assume I gotta clean all this. Cleaned all the gears, and now is the time for me to figure out how they actually interact with each other. And also I've ordered some oil that I can use to lubricate all of this. Ooh. Yeah, okay. I think that's alright for a first coat. Please. Okay. I think it's, yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah, I like that. Actually putting the gun together now is actually looking pretty impressive. I really like the olive green on this. I feel like it's turned out quite well. Obviously there is nooks and crannies in places, but it does look a lot better than it used to. So I just fixed the QD mounts. I took the C brackets off, put an O-ring between the C bracket and the actual mount for the pin mount, and I've decided that it would be better put the C clamp on the pin itself and put some O-rings to space the actual QD mount out of the body by itself. That way I can guarantee this will not fly off when I put an actual sling on it. This I don't care about so much. So now it's very nice and stiff, doesn't dangle about, doesn't annoy me. Okay, I now have a slight issue. This fire selector used to fall out. I want to make it not fall out of the gun whenever I switch fire modes, but I have no idea how it works. I do have this bracket, and I do have this locking pin, which is probably for the bracket. I gotta figure out how this works before I can actually assemble this properly. Got this locking pin installed. I figured out how to install it. It had like a metal bar that needs to sit just below it. That's how that works. I still haven't figured out how this works. First bit of information, the red dot should be facing the operator. So this is the fire selector in its fire mode. Trigger goes back perfectly fine. And this is when I select safety. No longer goes back. I would assume there is another C clip that's missing here. That's exactly the same here, except it's a little smaller, and I doubt I have this metal C-clip for this gun because this is a second-hand gun and it may have just fallen out on the previous owner of this. So I think I might have to make my own. I found this pencil sharpener that I decided to take apart, and maybe we might be able to grab this for the part that I actually need for this gun. So I've been able to cut out. Alex Workshop is actually workshopping, guys. Crazy. So now I'm gonna try and bend this so that it acts as the bracket for this fire selector. So I decided to take a thicker piece for this. Unfortunately, that's the only thick piece from this scrap now, but I was able to bend it in the middle. And basically that little groove is going to be going into those grooves on the fire selector. So like this, and like this. Cool, now I just need to adjust it to the body. Let's put this in, see what happens. That's fire. That's so fucking cool. I just made my own part. That's the fire selector fixed. So now that everything else has been fixed, I feel like it's valid to come back to the gearbox. I'm planning to adjust the AOA on the piston, shim it, clean it, lube it. I've already cleaned it, but I just need to lube it. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna correct the angle of engagement of the piston with this gear. That is done by having this gear point around 12 o'clock or more to the right when it engages the piston. This can be achieved by removing this tooth on the piston and removing a part of this tooth as well, so that when this gear spins, it hits this last tooth directly and maximizes the contact surface between the gear and the piston. Now obviously that won't happen if we have a tooth in the way. See how it's blocking? So we'll have to remove that completely. That would be a valid angle of engagement, like right here. That's going perfectly fine. There is no teeth stopping this, and this is fine. This is 100% cool. Now we need to space the piston inside. I'm going to use a rubber washer, and I'm going to glue onto the front part of the piston. That's not what I need. This one looks like it fits. You gotta glue it down properly. That's how the piston is. Let's see. It's all nice and secure in there now. And the piston is a little bit too out. It's a bit out, just a tiny bit here, but I think this is pretty good. God, I'm actually doing airsoft shit, guys. That's insane. Wipe down the surface. I don't want grease on this before we actually super glue this. There we go, perfect. So now we just stick this on here. Pray to God that it aligns. So this has the potential to be very dangerous for my work, because this is an opened tube of super glue, and if this goes anywhere near my part, it's going to be tragic. Okay, let's do this. Ooh, yep, there it is. So it usually goes. It goes everywhere, but it's okay because I was ready. Oh, that smells so much. Oh, it burns through the tissue as well. Not too much. There we go. Time to make history. Yeah, this looks pretty straight. Wow, yeah, that's actually sitting pretty nicely on here. Perfect. That is perfect. All right, let's put this back in. That is very firm on there. Wow, I'm actually surprised. And then we have this going in perfectly. Look at that. We basically just adjusted the AOA on this gearbox. Let's do some shimming. Ooh, yeah, I love shimming. I've never done it before in my life. Before this, I gotta remove this block of wires. Cringe. I hope I don't break anything. Another screw. I see. Oh, that's all falling apart now. Okay. Okay, let's take it apart. I can worry about putting it back together later. Okay, so the wires are out, ladies and gentlemen. Oh wow, we're really taking this apart. Like completely. I'll put the screws in here so that I don't lose them. So to shim this, I have a couple of shims here already. I'm gonna pick them all up. They're all sort of different diameters, so I'm gonna have to just kind of like do it. I don't know. I've never shimmed a gun before. I'm gonna have to sort this for thicker shims and the less thicker shims. First thing, I think we need to figure out how these gears actually go on here. I know this one goes on like this. I know this one is probably the one that connects to the pinion. Pinion being this bit goes on like this. Oh, it spins. Okay. And this, I would assume, goes in here. There we go. Now it's all, yeah, now it's all spinning. Sweet. Okay, I need to shim this gear to this pinion gear on the motor. And I can do this by reassembling the gearbox without these gears because they're most likely going to be interrupting a good bit. And basically what needs to happen is I need to have this as tight together as possible. I need to see if this gear can spin. It spins freely and it's also kind of bouncing about. Put a couple of shims on here depending on how this places onto the handle. This gear is really loose in there. We're definitely gonna need some sort of shims. Yeah, we wanna push it in like this much. We need to put shims onto this side. Got a very thin one right here. Get off. Get off. Oi. Get off, man. This is a relatively thick one. Thick, thin, thick middle as well. Oh. Okay, so I think we can do with 2 shims. 1, 2, 3. That looks okay. Let's put this back together, see if it works. Let's put another just one shim on here. Yeah, this is relatively free and it doesn't wobble about that much anymore. Put this back together. Headcam's getting a little bit difficult to wear. That barely spins. Yeah, that is very tight in there. I think I might take it off. 2 thick ones and a thin one on this side and 2 thick ones on the other side. That's good to go. To this gear now. Oops. Oh god, where did this go? Oh no. That spins quite nicely. Does it go up and down though? It does. By a good bit, I'd say. It spins nicely. That sounds really good to me. The contact seems to be okay. I quite like the sound of it, so yeah, I guess this is fine. And now we just need this top gear. Gonna put 1 thick shim on here. That's all the way in. This is not though. What the hell happened here? Oh my god, what? The bearing just decided to take off. I really need to stick this bearing into its base. This moves up a little bit. It seems alright. Sounds very stiff. I'm not sure if it's meant to sound like that. Okay, hang on. Ugh. The contact here is not too bad. Maybe it's grinding up against something that it's not supposed to grind up against. Watching an incredibly useful video on how to shim a gearbox by the Airsoft Tech. Shout out to this guy. Turns out this was a little bit over shimmed, so we removed 1 metal tiny buoy from it. And that tiny little knocking, scratching noise was actually from the contact between the body of the bevel gear and the teeth of the gear that's here in the middle, and that was not great. That was not good. It's a good thing I watched the video. Okay, there's a bit of wobble in there, but you know, not too much. Let's take the motor off actually. I just want to hear the sound of my shims. This barely moves up and down. It seems alright to me. A lot of gear stuff going on. But we are done with shimming now. It's complete. I can actually put this together now. I think it's time for me to lube the moving parts. Wow, no way, I'm actually like finishing this project now. We're in the final run. Now the lube I'm using here is Abby's Gun Grease LT2. I've read on a website that this is the best gun grease for geese. And you don't want to be using anything else really. You want to use something quite vicious like this. Smells kind of whack. I'm gonna put some of this on. Oh god, oh no. I don't know if I'm putting too much on or too little on, but I guess we'll find out later. I'm really hoping I'm not putting too much on. This is far from a bit, but you know, we're generous. Sweet. I think we can put this on now. Oh wow, that seems very, very stiff. Oh no. The shim is now on properly. There we go. If you know stuff about, you know, lubing your gun, do feel free to let me know if I should be putting more or not, because this is like my first time and I don't know if you can tell. There we go. God, this video is going to be very, very long. Okay, so got that greased up. Air seal is still good. That's going really, really fast. Nice. It seems perfectly fine. Wow, okay. I might actually be somewhat successful in shimming this. Now I need to just put this back together, which is a phrase I thought I'd never say with this AUG. I thought it was just gonna be one of those projects that you're just like, I would do it for a bit, then I'd get bored, and then I'd just chuck it away. The guy who sold it to me secondhand, he sold it to me in a terrible condition, a little bit overpriced, but you know what, at this point I'm not even mad. At this point I'm like, okay, wow, this is actually like a learning experience, so I don't think I want to complain too much about it. Hey, and if you watched this far in the video, you're awesome, you're the best, I love you. Leave a comment saying I don't know, hee hee. I don't know, hee hee. I'm going to start putting this together. Okay, I've done the spring and the trigger, the whole thing. It's ready. Whoops, I forgot this part. I'm not sure what this is. Oh, this is about to get really complex really fast. Please, my shim is not letting it go on. Oh, I beg you. Yes, it's working. Piston assembly. Okay, no! Alright, and now we're ready to put in this whole entire big assembly. I think very, very carefully. Sitting in there rather nicely. This part needs to match. Yes. Put on. We dragged and put through on here. Oh, nice. Oh god, here we go. Trigger assembly. I hate this. I hate this so much. This is, yeah, this, okay, alright. This is struggle material. Oh lord, I'm about to break everything. No, we're fine. We're okay. We're totally fine. This is no match for my engineering skills. Please rotate. Please, sir. Thank you. Now, this has got to go into a hole somewhere. I don't know where exactly, but we're gonna find it. I found it. Oh, the spring is not meant to be here. Okay, my bad. Stop being such a pain. Can't even pivot onto it. Oh, I'm in. Okay, Jesus Christ, that was actual just torture. I put everything together. The key problem areas were the trigger pinholes here. Gears weren't aligning properly, and this nozzle, I had to push it in for this to snap in properly. So now everything is fine. Everything is perfectly fine. Slight problem, trigger is rubbing against the gear here, and I'm not entirely sure why. I don't think it really affects anything here. I don't ever want to open this gearbox up ever again. Absolute pain in the ass, but I put it together. I put the gearbox in, and it is very nice and stiff in there. I'm not sure how long it's gonna last in there, but hopefully a while. The trigger is working. It's a bit whack, but it's working. Mag release is working. Everything else should be working. This should be working properly now too. It has got a bit of weight at the back here now. Yeah, let's put it together. That's pretty much it. Actually, let's stiff hop-up window. That's the last thing we need to do to this AUG to make it complete. That can only be done if I get the top part and I put it all together. We're about to make history, boys. this in very, very carefully. God, if this doesn't like clip in for some reason, I'm going to be very, very upset. I'm not entirely sure why it's not aligning. Oh, I know exactly why, because I'm kind of stupid, innit? Okay. Yes. Behold the AUG. Look at this thing. Wow. That looks beautiful. Oh. Wow, looks like the hop-up window still needs fixing. That really just doesn't look back, does it? Time to diagnose the problem. Clearly looks back here. Yes, okay, I see. It's not aligned properly because when I was inserting the gearbox, this must have gotten misaligned. What does that mean? That means I have to redo the gearbox. Oh, I wanna fucking die. Okay, fine, I'll take it apart. Okay, I've reseated the gearbox. This time it was a bit less painful, and if we look down here, everything is aligned as it should be. So now, let's put this cursed barrel in. There we go. Just like Lego. I put this in. This is... stop. Please stop falling apart. It's kind of such an ass sometimes. Come on. Lock. Yes? Good. Very good. Now, test the charging handle. Oh, please. Wait, hang on. Perfect. The hop-up window is working. Still a bit stiff, but good thing it actually locks now. So I can adjust the hop-up. It's gonna be a very difficult gun to reload. I guess no matter how hard you try to restore something without actually paying for extra parts, for new parts, it's still going to be relatively shit, but you know, at least it looks nice. It probably fires better now as well. It's 2 AM and I just finished the SOG. I guess it is time to go to bed now. I'm done with this project. This is now complete. No matter how well the gearbox actually performs inside, I'm not gonna do any work on this. This has been a project for like 2-3 weeks now. It's got what it deserved. Okay, ladies, gentlemen, it's time to test this gun. I guess, moment of truth. We're about to discover if I've done a good job or a bad job. Now, this is the fire mode, and it should, in theory, shoot. This is unloaded. Just there for looks. Let's see. Right. Ooh! Hang on. It's not going as fast as I wanted to go. Definitely not as fast as I wanted to go. But it shoots. Wow, I think I made it worse. I don't know why it shoots so slow. Probably because I didn't assemble it correctly, maybe. Or maybe my shims are not in place correctly. I don't know. This was a really, really tricky gearbox to play around with, I feel like. It's very, very pretty. One thing I forgot to test is the FPS. Oh, Jesus. We're ready to go. This is now loaded. I hope it feeds. It does feed. It does feed. Alright, pointers. Let's chrono this. Wow, it's actually doing consistently alright. Doing 330 FPS, which is like decent for this AUG. Wow. Well, I assembled this back correctly. RPM is 9. It's just 9, but it feels like it's getting like faster. It shoots a little faster now. That's out. Look at shooting faster. Maybe lubrication is really working its way in there. Well, that's the AUG, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this thing. It's so pretty. I'm gonna reload it. Okay, light release, I guess.